Happy Masters Sunday. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Appreciate you guys tuning in at the conclusion of the Masters. Just rule of thumb, if there's ever an event like that going on, we'll probably go at the end of it if there's any big time event going on. So we listed that on our chat just so you guys would know where we were. But we appreciate you guys being in there, sticking around, getting ready to roll. Humongous update. Spring game was excellent yesterday. I thought it was the best spring game I've seen in a long time, maybe ever. Really well done by Ryan Day. We're talking about who we thought stood out. Where did the Bucks go from here? What they need to improve. We're gonna break some film down as well and take your questions. As always, we appreciate you guys. Thank you to everybody that showed up to our Buckeye Scoop meetup yesterday. It was awesome. Shout out to Beth and Karis, Steely. A ton of you guys were there the whole time. Obviously, all of our compadres, rocking Scoop gear. It was just a blast. I love seeing all you guys. It's so fun. Just kind of shooting the bull, cutting up a little bit, talking about football, and seeing all your smiling faces. Thank you guys so much for coming through. I had a blast. It was my favorite one that we've ever done. It was great to see everybody, and again, I appreciate all you guys that come out and hang out for a little bit, have some fun, meet each other. It's always great. So I just appreciate you guys so very much. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys for all that you guys do, making this thing into an incredible show. And it's just been absolutely amazing what you've done. Give us a follow on Apple Podcasts if you can, and continue to help us grow that. I know a lot of you guys said you guys did that yesterday, so thank you for that. That's awesome. So with that being said, gonna bring in my good friend Nevadabuck. Nevada, huge day yesterday. Obviously, we agree on who the MVP of the day was and who really took a gigantic, massive step. What are your thoughts on what we saw of Julian Sayin yesterday?
Well, I mean, Julian was terrific. I mean, he was really, really good. And, frankly, that's the quarterback that I saw throughout his high school career in Southern California. That's the quarterback that I saw win the Elite 11. That's why he was a five-star ranked number one quarterback in the country type of recruit. And so while it was a pleasant surprise, it wasn't shocking because I've seen him do that. That's how he plays. That's who he is. We've talked about him he's a very fast processor. He's got a very live arm. He's very mobile in the pocket. Again, he's not Fran Tarkington, but he's Aaron Rodgers. He knows how to slide around, and he can deliver the ball. And he was nearly flawless yesterday. I mean, he was really, really good. And I think people know, you kind of know the goods when you see it. And I think everybody kind of left leaving that kind of with the impression of, hey, that's the guy. And, there's a number of reasons that go beyond everything that we saw on the field. But, Julian's a kid that we could potentially have for 3 seasons here. We could get 3 seasons of football. And that's probably the chalky answer. We're going to get 3 full seasons of football out of him. Which is crazy to think because we see how much guys improve in 1 year under the tutelage of Ryan Day. For a guy like that that's already got that raw material, and the fact that we could have him for 3 years, sky's the limit for Julian. And I think with all due respect to Lincoln, Julian's QB1. Lincoln, I hope he stays around. I hope he hangs in there because you always need a capable backup, and I think he is a capable backup. But Julian's just a little bit better in every way, and he's a guy that's so good. You just can't. The idea that you would start somebody else over him and potentially have him risk leaving you to go to USC or Georgia or wherever. It's just something, Ryan's just not going to let talent like that walk out the door. So Julian Sand is the guy. If you watch the game, I don't think there's really a lot of dispute about that. And again, it wasn't about anything that Lincoln did wrong or anything that Lincoln was bad. It's just Julian's really, really talented. So that's the particular comment. The general comment, I would echo what you said. I think that was the best spring game showcase, whatever you want to call that, I've ever seen. I'm not saying that there wasn't one that was as good. I can't remember it, but I don't remember one ever being better. And I'm talking about just the tempo, the organization. I thought Ryan was completely in his bag. I mean, he had it going. I thought Brian Hartline called a heck of a game. And, I was ready for it to be wonky. I was ready for it to kind of go, well, Brian's having some, growing pains. He spent one half of the game up in the box. He spent one half of the game on the sideline. Um, I, you know, I thought he called a great game. And we clearly, we had mentioned this before in the run up to the spring game. We said, what should you look for? And I'm like, look for more passes to the tight ends, look for more screens, passes to the running backs. I think we threw it more to the tight end in the spring game than I've ever seen. I think we ran more screen passes in the spring game than I've ever seen. I think Julian's first pass there was a screen pass, and I've been waiting for that. So for me, I like nearly passed out when I saw that. But no, some great performances all the way around. I thought C.J. Donaldson was a breath of fresh air. Mylan Graham clearly was the co-star of the game, a guy that really cemented himself in the number 4 slot for the wide receiver room. Maybe he pushes in his for the 3, but we certainly have 4 capable superstar level types of receivers out there, and that's that what a blessing for 2025. But as you and I were talking about earlier today, this group of people, you always look at, when is this group maturing? When's it at its peak? It's probably 2026. So we're preseason number 1 for 2025. 2026, we're going to be really good. 2026, we're going to be returning pretty much the entire offensive line with the exception of Ethan at left tackle. J.J. Smith, Julian Sayin in his second year, James Peoples and Bo Jackson, Edric Houston, Caden McDonald. You lose Caleb Downs, huge loss, but you've got Devin Sanchez, you've got Aaron Scott, you've got Jermaine Matthews, you've got McLean. I mean, we have got a lot of talent. So again, I'm not trying to get too far ahead of ourselves, but 2025 looks really good. 2026 looks even better. So we're getting ready for a dynastic run here for Ohio State, and that was kind of my takeaway from the spring game. I know you watched it, you saw different things, so I'd be interested in hearing your perspectives on that.
Well, I thought that Brian Hartline was a standout. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Like I know Brian has been waiting for this moment to take this away from Ryan this season. I'm getting some film ready to go. I think that what he did, managing the offense, and it'll be interesting to see, does he stay up? Does he go down? I mean, I thought that was, a masterclass by Ryan Day, having him work a sideline up and a sideline down, as an up in the press box and then down on the field, to see, where does he like to be? Where does he like to mention? Again, I always want my coordinators up, just because, again, I'm the only person that does a podcast that's actually sat up in the booth and sat and saw how much more control. I was down on the field my first year as a QC, then I was up in the box. Up in the box is just so much better for being able to get your thoughts together. Then again, the things that have changed is these guys have iPads now on the sideline, or the surfaces, whatever they have, so they can watch film immediately. That's a huge change, monstrous change. But I still like my for Brian to be able to be down on sitting in the press box, and he can kind of organize his next drive. He can talk to Julian Sayin on the headset. You've got capable guys. Devin Jordan, Chris Carter can help run the receiver rotation. Keenan Bailey was up sitting next to him, which I thought was good. I mean, those guys have a lot of symmetry as co-coordinators. They're both up. But I will say, I mean, the way Ryan has structured this coaching staff is absolutely incredible. The 3 offensive line coaches, obviously led by Tyler Bowen, but then having, you have 2 guys that were like head line coaches. I mean, Marcus Johnson at Purdue, and Charlie Dickey from Oklahoma State. I mean, those guys were literally the line coaches at those 2 schools, and those are good schools. And Purdue's put a tackle into the draft that could go in the second round. So these guys have coached really good players. They've been around the block. But I thought you could see that in the depth of the offensive line when you got to the 2s and you got to the 3s, and those guys were really, really good technically. You could tell that they have a kind of more of a one-to-one approach with coaching, with the 3 coaches to the 17 or 18 guys that are in the offensive line room. And I think that really showed, because again, I've been a part of offensive lines that when you got down to the second and third team, it was absolute like vomit. Like you couldn't do anything with it. You really limited what you could call. But I didn't feel that yesterday. I felt a lot of these young guys are really competitive. You're Jake Cook, Gavin Sinkle. Like some of these kids they're really taking nice steps, and they're young. I mean, they're freshmen, sophomores. Josh Padilla is good, and they look like starters. They play like starters. They come off the ball. They move guys in the running game. I didn't see a lot of missed assignments, which again, that's another telltale sign that the coaching is effective, especially on the offensive line. When you've got Carter Lowe out there as your left tackle, and the Armstrong twins, and a lot of these kids. Like, I didn't see many flat out, we call it blows, missed assignments, MAs, or whatever you want to call them. I think that's strong. Now, obviously, the defense was they were static. I mean, they weren't moving. They didn't blitz. They're not allowed to blitz. They run like two different coverages. It's a simple thing, but you still have to block them. So again, you still got to move the guys, and we were getting a lot of movement. And again, will the defense be better when they can be provocative and blitz and move the front and do a lot of the stuff that Matt Patricia likes to do? Because again, if you watch the New England Patriots, they move all over the place. So again, they make it very, very difficult to go against, and that's what we'll see. Again, this was you want to get these guys out there so that they can get some real work in front of a crowd, so they can get that anxiety attack. You want to have the quarterback live a little bit so they get the anxiety attack. But you also you don't want to give Texas anything. So you're still going to run plays. And again, I thought it was competitive. And again, I think that's part of the fact that these guys are young. You don't have as many guys to get held out for the whole thing. Like last year, it was like, you're not going to see Jack Sawyer, you're not going to see JT, you're not going to see Ty Leak. So I mean, it was like the whole first team was like held out of the thing. They played a little bit, but this thing I felt like there's less guys that are held outside of JJ and Caleb, Sonny Styles. You saw a lot of these guys out there getting some work, which I thought was great. I thought the pace was great. I would fire whoever said that it was going to be a spring showcase, because I think that hurt the attendance of it. Because I think people weren't sure what it was going to turn to the Pro Bowl, and they're going to do balloon toss and relay race and tug of war. And it wasn't that. It was actually really competitive, really good football. I've watched it multiple times. And like I said, I've been to, and if some of you old heads, that if you guys went to that 2002 spring game, like the year that Maurice Clarett was in early enrollee, the final score of that was 6-3. It was the most boring game in the history of football. Oh my! And they played 4 quarters. 6-3 was the final. So it's like, to see these guys get up and down, and really do some good things. A guy that we didn't talk about in Nevada, I'm shocked, because this has been outside of Will Allen. You've been his probably biggest proponent. Is our place kicker. I mean, Jaden Felding had himself a day. He was 100% accurate, mid 40s, boomed the ball out of the end zone. Like I think that he's a kid that, he was dinged up last year, which again, credit to him. He didn't, have any excuses, but again, if kickers get hurt, man, it is a severe deal. I mean, everyone makes fun of kickers because they don't go through contact, but if they've got a hip or a groin and they can't, their swings messed up, and they're going for a field goal, or kicking the ball out of bounds, and the kickoffs. Like, I mean, a lot of times there's some legitimate reason, because we don't just find some kicker off the street and say, hey, you want to come kick at Ohio State. Like, these are kids that have been through pressure situations in high school. They've been through pressure situations at camp. And Ryan Day stuck with them when there were a lot of portal kickers and guys like me, and I'll eat crow on this. We're saying we need to go get a better kicker. And the kid really stepped up, and I hope that he has a great season, and I hope that he's healthy and continues to keep putting in that work. Any thoughts on that, Nevada?
Yeah, well, I mean, Fielding, look, he had a bad game against Michigan. I mean, we can talk about the kicks earlier, but everybody really remembers him for the Michigan game, just like Will Howard had a bad game against Michigan, and Trey Henderson had a bad game against Michigan. And I just think sometimes, I don't think we're defined by our worst moments. I think we're defined by our best. And I think, Fielding's a guy that, when we needed him, he was clutch in the playoff, kicked a lot of big field goals, and including that one at the end of the national championship to put it away, that when we scored that, that 9th, 10th, and 11th point, we knew that it was over, and we'd won it. So I was really happy for him. Happy that we've got an experienced place kicker. Still think we need to find a punter, or that the punters need to be better. Now, I don't know how much difference that really makes, but I like to make it unfair. And so I want us to have the best of the best at every position. But yeah, no, lots of good things. I think the only notable deficiency on the team, in my opinion, and again, popular take, it's going to be defensive line. How much depth do we have in the defensive line? We talked about it. We've been talking about the whole entire offseason. We love Edric Houston. We love Cade McDonald. But who are the guys that are behind it that are going to step up? And didn't see a lot of that in the spring game. If I was Ohio State, I would be shopping hard in the portal for a couple of big bodies. I'd go after the best of the best. There's got to be guys that are out there that are looking or that could be enticed to be looking, because I think that's really the only that we're a couple of players away from being a really good football team. And because offensively, if we throw to the tight end and Max Clare was every bit as advertised. We fantasized last year about having Colson Loveland on team, or Colson Loveland well, we have it. It's his name, Max Clare, and Jelani Thurman has taken a big step. I think all the tight ends look great, and I want to give credit to the tight end room because we've been harsh on the tight end room, but we give credit when it's due. We have rediscovered the tight end and we restocked that room, and it looked like a team strength. But if we're throwing to the tight end, throwing to the backs, and then working with that offensive line that we have, with that quarterback, with those wide receivers, with the running backs, I just don't know how teams are going to hold us under 35, 38, 40 points a game. And so I think defensively, we just need to get enough stops. We just need not to be able to be violated by a power running game where somebody keeps the ball away from us. So I think we need a couple of big bodies, and Ryan Day seemed to acknowledge that in the post game. I think it's obvious to everybody who watched the game that's where our deficiency is right now. It's not at linebacker, it's not at corner, it's not at safety. And I think even we'll be able to generate a pass rush on the edge. It's interior defensive line. Get that short up. Even just get one. If they got one good one in the second portal window, I would be over the moon. I think / know they're shopping for a couple. If they do that, watch out in 2025 because I'm failing to see where the holes are on this team if we shore that that specific thing up, because everywhere else I really love the guys that we have on the squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best tight end room I've ever seen at Ohio State, and it's not even close at this point because Max Clare is the best tight end in the country for my money, and I think Jelani Thurman could be next. And again, I talked to some guys that I really, really trust about, evaluating that kind of stuff, and they really like Jelani Thurman. So he's taking a step. Again, I always tell you guys, like, when it's money time and all of a sudden, yeah, I mean, because Jelani, he's a junior now. I mean, he's draft eligible. So all of a sudden it's like guys get a little bit more screwed. Not everybody's like JJ and they act like they're 10-year, and Caleb Downs that are freshmen that act like 10-year NFL guys. Some guys have to figure it out and they want to go sow their wild oats, which is fine. I get it. It's college. But some guys, Jelani is screwed in right now. And he's a guy that, Will Kazmarek was dinged and they held Bennett Christian. And, so, I mean, all of a sudden, like, you're looking at our two tight ends out there, and it's Max Clare and Jelani. And I think those are the two best tight ends we have. Now, again, when you've got Will Kazmarek, who's a senior, and Bennett Christian, who's a gritty, tough kid, great blocker, they're all going to play. But from a talent perspective, I mean, those are the two best guys by far, is Jelani and Max Clark. And I thought they both had really nice days. I think that they're imposing. And again, that's credit to Keenan Bailey. Again, we're fair around here, and that room has never been deeper. And he kept everybody out of the portal, which again, knock on wood, the portal hasn't opened yet, but those guys all knew Max Clare was coming, and nobody jumped then, so I don't know why they jumped now. And then you got the young guys, Robertson, Max LeBlanc. They both made catches, and I was like, I felt like I was living in some sort of a simulation where all of a sudden I was like, how in the world are we getting all these receptions for the tight end? Like, I don't think our tight ends had this many catches last year, and they had that many in the spring game. And again, I thought it was great. Again, it's Brian Hartline, nice, easy throws. And I'm going to break some film for you guys real quick because I love Brian and how, my pet peeve is when a new quarterback's in, young offensive linemen are in, spring game, whatever, first game in the shoe, and some try to do too much. Deep throw, you got to protect forever, give up a sack, give up some negative play. Brian, this is Julian Sayin's first drive. And he's with the second offensive line. Lincoln went with the ones, so the ones are on the sideline. So he's out there with the two. So the first play, you got a nice little motion here, which I love the motion to rock and roll the safeties, kind of see what coverage you're getting. Again, that's just eye candy because you're going to motion over here, draw the attention, the eyes, everything. It's Mylan. So again, he's had a huge spring, so people are watching him. And you go screen the other way, nice and easy. And it's not a super productive play, but you get a yard or two. But for these young linemen, when you got Gabe Van Sickle and Jake Cook and Padilla out there, it's nice to call a play where they really don't have to pass protect because they can't give a sack, can't get beat real early. So these guys, they do a good job. Again, screens in a situation like this aren't as effective because you can't cut these guys when they're not live. Because I would tell these guys to go throw and not cut their kneecaps out. And again, it's not perfect, but it's more the call and letting these guys get loose. Let Julian get an early completion so he starts off 1 for 1, nice and easy. And like I said, it's not some incredible 80-yard Trey Henderson bowl game screen pass, but it's just something to let the defense know and let Texas know, hey, look out for the screen pass because we're going to be throwing them because we got really good backs that can catch it, which is great. And I think that between him and James Peoples, and then you come right back to an RPO. So again, you run 2 plays, 2 easy completions. Again, these RPOs are just impossible to defend. And Julian just rips this throw. And this is just a missile. But you see the linebackers, you see the O-line coming off the ball. Ball's gone. Nice completion to Mylan, who had a fantastic day. But, on the first 2 plays of the game, I mean, he's got 2 very easy throws for Julian. Because, again, I like my quarterbacks to get in a rhythm early. I know that everybody thinks that it's like playing Madden. In the first play of the game, you just throw the bomb to JJ every time. But I like the quarterbacks to get in a rhythm. I like the O-line to get a couple plays coming off the ball, get moving around a little bit. Don't give them an anxiety attack saying that they have to pass protect, 7-step drop, and we're going to throw the deep shot or whatever. So I thought that was really sharp of Brian because, again, I want Julian Sayin to be relaxed, and I want him to be, 2 for 2 to start it off, nice and easy. And then you can start ripping the shots to JJ and to Carnell and to Max Clare down the middle. Because, again, I like my quarterback to have that confidence to get it rolling early. Get that first down, just move it down the field. Don't go 3 and out and try to do too much. And I really was impressed by Brian calling the game yesterday. I was like, yeah, he's, again, Chip Kelly is a godsend. And I think that, what Chip Kelly did is kind of like what Jim Knowles and Matt Patricia will do for some of those young defensive coaches. But, a year with Chip Kelly is like it's like learning from like Steve Jobs, like being Steve Jobs is like errand boy for a year. And then all of a sudden you get to learn a lot of the stuff that he does that he probably wouldn't tell anybody. So yeah, it's one of those things where that might be like one of the turning points in Brian Hartline's career as a play caller and how he saw the offense when all of a sudden Chip Kelly shows up and kind of teaches them the running game. Because Chip is a running game genius, savant. And you saw a lot of that yesterday when Brian was play calling. So again, I love the direction of the offense. I know some people are worried about some of the defensive stuff. Again, if you could find like a Derek Harmon, like who went to Oregon from Michigan State, and pay him a chunk of money, that would be the greatest solvent of all time. But otherwise, I thought we had some. Logan George stepped up, had a couple pressures, couple sacks. We didn't see a lot of Kenyatta, a lot of Caden Curry. Those guys were held. And we couldn't blitz, so that kind of erased Arvell and Sonny from the pressure situations. But our DBs were out there fighting, battling. Lorenzo Salas Jr. had a nice pass breakup. Aaron Scott was chippy. He got pancaked by Quincy Porter, who was a monster yesterday. I mean, we've got legit five number 1 wide receivers on our team when you count Mylan and you count Quincy. I mean, those guys would all be the number 1 receiver at Michigan, on top of Venice Tate, JJ Smith. Like an insane amount of depth at this point. And Mylan Graham's going to be the next Garrett Wilson, a superstar here. So yeah, I'm excited. And people that were at the incredible Buckeye Scoop event yesterday were asking, do you really think we can win a national championship this year? I'm like, well, I don't know who's more talented than we are. I mean, you need a lot of luck. You need you guys to stay healthy, and you need the right breaks. But nobody's going to out talent us on the field. I don't think. Now I could be wrong, and maybe someone emerges. But I've seen Georgia, I've seen Texas, I've seen the usual suspects that we're going to have to see, and I wouldn't trade their guys for our guys, and I wouldn't trade their quarterback for our quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't trade Julian Sayin for Arch Manning at this point. I think Julian Sayin is going to be really good. He won the Elite 11 2 years ago, and he's got Ryan Day coaching him with Billy Fessler, and give him a summer, and I think he'll be ready to rock. Nevada, any thoughts on that? And we can get into some of the super chats.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, like if you look across the college football landscape this year, I mean, every team's got holes. Every team, there's no perfect team. There's no super team that's out there. And I completely agree on Julian Sayin. I mean, again, I don't want to put too much on him, and because inevitably, yes, he will make mistakes. Inevitably, he'll have a bad game. Everybody does. That doesn't make him a bad quarterback. So we can just stop with any of the, well, Julian Sayin just can't throw an interception. Yeah, that goes true for every quarterback that's ever played the position. He can't turn the ball over. He can't do this and he can't do that. But Julian's really good, and he's really smart. And they were complimenting him yesterday on the broadcast, and something we've been talking about this whole time about how good he is in the pre-snap reads. And it just goes to his high football intellect. He's a fast processor. He's a guy that instantly recognizes what's going on and knows where to put the ball. And that's why he was so good in high school. He's the classic Southern California quarterback that's been, tutored since he was 5 years old. I mean, he's got perfect mechanics. The ball just explodes out of his hand. And the only thing he isn't is he's not 6'4". He's 6'1". But he's a solid kid. He's put on some muscle here. And I mean, he had a heck of a game. And you can't win in modern college football without good to very good college quarterback play. And I think we're going to get that. I think we're going to get that this year in abundance. And next year, man, watch out. And then I can't even imagine how good he's going to be 3 years from now. So, yeah, I'm all in on the Sayin train. And again, I really do want to compliment Ryan Day on running just a great spring game. I thought that the feeling of relief from Ryan is palpable. You can just tell that he's kind of been reborn. He's reborn now as this, national championship winning coach, icon, and he seems completely comfortable in his skin. It feels like he's got the weight of the world taken off his shoulders, and I think he's conducting himself as such. And for Ohio State, that's only going to be good. And I can't wait to see how that plays out in terms of play calling, game planning during the regular season. Because I think we're all going to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's just in some aspects of life, it's just so hard when there's that missing piece. And for the last 8 hours today, you guys are watching the Masters, and all you hear about is Rory having the Grand Slam and not having the green jacket and the weight of the world. And then he duffs that putt on 18, and people are like, there's some people that don't want him to ever get it, and then there's some people that are excited that he gets it, and whatever. But that's kind of what Ryan was with the national title. I mean, everything else was great. Recruiting was great. Development was great. NFL draft picks was great. But there was just that missing piece. But now, he's got one, and that's all you need. Once you get one, you're in the club. It's just like winning the green jacket with the Masters. Like once you get that one green jacket, you're in the club forever. You don't need to have 5 green jackets to get into the special VIP bungalow of Amen Corner or whatever. Like you're in, and that's where Ryan is now. And again, I think that that validates his methods. It validates what he does, what he believes in, what he's changed from Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer, and what he's done to put his little spin stylistically on the program. And again, I think it's great. Like I said, I was as happy as anybody for Ryan Day to win it, because I know there's this stupid sect of people that they just are obsessed with championships, and championships obviously are everything. Most important thing that you can do at Ohio State is win a national title. But there's the people like Dan Marino sucks and Charles Barkley sucks, and those guys never won the big ring. And I'm like, well, I mean, they're Hall of Famers and they're as good as there's ever been. But that ring is a whole different animal. Once you get that, then you're certified. But again, I don't know. It's something where I was just happy that Ryan got that ring and we don't have to hear about it ever again. And I was especially happy for him and his family. Yeah, and like I said, I thought that spring game, I honestly felt bad that the attendance was only 40,000. Now the weather always kind of can kill the spring game. It was cold, it was 40. If it was 75, I think you probably get 85,000, 90,000 in there to see the champions. But yeah, that was the best spring game I've seen in terms of, because I thought towards the end of the Urban Meyer era, and again, you guys know how I love Urban Meyer, is it just got to be too much, touch off and too much quick whistle, and these guys were getting after it. I mean, there was, Aaron Scott Jr. took a swipe at Quincy Porter, which I thought was stupid, but he did it because Quincy pancaked him, which I thought was great. And again, I love seeing Quincy Porter get after it blocking. There's nothing that makes my heart flutter more than seeing our receivers go pancake a DB. But I just thought it was competitive. And again, I think that that's part of the world of these guys all want to get spots, and these guys all want to. You don't have 3 years to try to develop, because in the world of the portal now, they will replace you. So I thought our young guys really were spirited. They played hard. And that's all you want. Like, you want to walk off the field. Like, if I'm Ryan Day, and I know that, like, because he's the coach, he's always going to be paranoid around every turn, but I'd feel really good about the team. And especially when you see Max Clare and Ethan Onyanwa looked great at left tackle. And I think that that'll be our day one starting offensive line, provided there aren't injuries. I really like that they're starting the 4 guys that got them to the national championship. I'm glad they're starting Austin Serveld along with Tegra, along with Luke Montgomery, Carson Hinsman, and then you throw the veteran, 5th-year left tackle out there from Rice, who's a big acquisition. That's a really good offensive line, and that could be the best line in the country. Just because, again, those guys all won the national championship, and they're all better. And they were, imposing their will yesterday, because they were like, we don't have to go against Tyleek anymore, and Jack and JT and Ty Hamilton. We're going against like the twos now, and it looked like it. Our guys were mauling them up front pretty good. I want to run this. This is I'm going to break one more down because I love watching this film. But Brian and Keenan Bailey do a really nice job with the tight ends, and they love to kind of move stuff around, and I'm just going to show you just a little quick motion that they do, where they get them set and then they reset them in line in the formation with Jelani. So Jelani, basically looks like JJ Smith as a tight end, because he's so big. I mean, he's 6'7" or whatever it is, and they motion him in. Comes in line. You're thinking it's going to be a run. He gets down into 3-point stance. Another motion. So again, when you get this condensed formation, you're thinking this is going to be a handoff or maybe an RPO back over here to JJ, but instead it's a play action pass. And again, we love running our counter scheme where the tight end pulls and the guard pulls, and that's one of our favorite plays. We ran it earlier in this quarter. But when you see these two guards pull, like I said, when you're him and him and him, and you see guards pulling and you see a backside tight end pulling, 90% of the time it's a run, except for this time when it's the 10% time where it's a play action pass. And so you see the reaction of these guys when they see those guards pulling, and they set up to fortify this, and this is excellent protection. And you see, Jelani, the big horse, he makes contact with the end, so they think that he's blocking, he's engaged. It's kind of like a delay, runs a shoulder through him, gets clean, gets his eyes around, and it's just a nice, easy throw to, the gargantuan tight end that we have. So that's like, I love this scheme, and I love, anything that can confuse these linebackers, because I mean, Jelani just gets they just lose him. So he's just wide open, perfect ball, nice, easy completion. But yeah, like Brian, some of the scheme stuff we do, I just love, because it's a lot of window dressing with, you got to motion in to get set, and then you got to shift in, get everybody set for a second, and then you hike it, and play action, guards pull, and then it ends up being Jelani just wide open for a nice, easy 10-yard strike, and it's like stealing. But again, I love that stuff, because that's hard to go against. It's not just everybody line up, snap the ball, hand it off, gain 2 yards. Like, no, I love that stuff. So that was great. And again, that's like just a simple play, but those little nuances are really hard to go against. And that's a lot of the Chip Kelly RPO stuff where you pull those guards, man, and it's really hard for those linebackers not to trigger, because the next time when you actually run it, if they don't trigger and they stay static, all of a sudden, like, that running back's gonna have a full head of steam, and they're not going to be beating anybody in the hole, so they're going to gain a lot of yardage. Any other thoughts about it? We'll dig into some super chats.
Well, no, I just you mentioned the rings. I was wondering, what did you think of the Ohio State rings, and are those better than the Meineke Car Care Bowl ring that you guys got back in 2011 or whatever the heck year it was? So, what do you think?
Well, I've got like 4 rings. So I've got my Big Ten title ones that were my runner-up national championship ones, because I did not get the big ring. I got the little rings, and then also that Gator Bowl ring, which I never got because I refused. I refused to accept a ring from a 7-loss season. I thought that was the most ridiculous and idiotic thing of all time. So I refused to take one from the Gator Bowl when we went 6-7. So I don't have that one. But, my senior year, I think, is the ugliest ring that was ever created, because once we lost to LSU, I literally said that we shouldn't even get rings because we lost 2 straight national title games. But so some of the other guys designed the ring. I want no part of designing the ring. And I wish I would have, because it is hideous. It says Buckeyes across the front. It's just terrible. So I never wear it. The 06 ring was okay, but when you don't win the Natty, like, the rings, like, they just don't really matter to me. Again, I've got a tree. Like, the tree trumps a ring to me. Especially when it's a Big Ten title. Now, a national championship ring, maybe. But I thought the rings they're fine. I mean, they usually have the thing, honestly, that I was wondering is if they still cap the rings, because when I was there, the cap on the rings was like $200 or $250. So, those rings, they look like big NFL Super Bowl rings and stuff, but they're made out of like tin. I mean, they're made out of like little cheap plastic diamonds. And I think that the coaches might have the option to get like real diamonds and real gold. But ours, I think there was a point in time, maybe in the 70s and 80s, where they might have actually got real gold. But when the price of gold went up over the limit, like, the rings all of a sudden became like tin. So I've got like my tin rings. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I don't wear my rings. Like, I've never worn my rings. I don't think I'll ever wear my rings.
Your Gator Bowl ring could be worth a fortune, man. It could have been the fortune in gold you gave away there.
I mean, I would have sold that thing for $10, because it was so. I was so repulsed that we were literally getting a ring for a 7-loss season, But it was a ring from the bowl game, because, again, there is a world where people are excited to actually play in bad bowl games. I'm not one of those people, Like, I mean, again, you win the Big Ten, get a ring, great. Obviously you win the Natty, you get a ring. That's the ring everybody wants. But to get a ring just for playing in a bad bowl game is just not. And there's some guys that rock that. They're ultra proud of their Meineke Car Care Bowls. I mean, I gave my ring allotment to one of our interns, Jason Osborne, because they were going to make our interns pay for their rings. So they were going to have to pay like $300 or whatever it was, $250 to get a ring made. And I was like, just give him my allotment, because I don't want a ring from a 7-loss team. It's the dumbest thing. I'm still embarrassed that we accepted those, but that's just me. What do I know? Old hater boy. Any other thoughts? Again, I thought the rings are fine. It's funny because the rings that the team designs is always way better than the other 2 rings. Like, because you can always tell the one that the players design, it looks pretty sweet. The other ones are just kind of like they give away the same one, like the college football player gets the same one every year, and they just change the logo on it. But when the players get to design their own rings, because I thought the 14 ring was really nice. I've seen the O2 ring. They get bigger and bigger. They're just like kind of funny at this point. But I thought the players designed a really nice ring. They put the cross in the middle, which I thought was cool. It opened up. It had like confetti in it, I guess. So we could have used some of our used. We could have used our Nevadabuck's used national championship hot dog wrapper and put that inside the ring.
They should have called me. If they'd have contacted me, I would have given them some of those. I would have given some of my wrappers to have that and be like, hey, this was this wrapped a hot dog, $1, I think $1.50 hot dog too. So like a quality bargain hot dog at the stadium. So that would have made the rings even better.
Little mustard like drizzle on it, it'd be perfect.
I do like mustard. Yeah. A little mustard. Maybe ketchup, maybe some chopped onions on it. little relish.
Keep that breath nice and hot for the
Do you
podcast afterwards.
do you like the stadium brown? You like the stadium mustard from Cleveland, like Cleveland stadium brown
I
mustard?
used to love the stadium brown mustard at Jacobs Field. That was the
Yeah,
greatest mustard in the history of mankind.
yeah,
But
that
it's,
was
I think
really
it's
good.
like, oh my god, it was this phenomenal mustard. You know,
Yeah,
but
that was good stuff.
yeah,
I used
so
to
I mean
buy
that
I
was.
used to buy it. I used to buy it online. I'd bring it there just to get a little taste of Cleveland back on with me.
I mean, literally, like that's the best part of I mean, Jacobs Field was like the greatest place in the world when it first opened. Man, that was like the Shangri-La of Northeast Ohio. So I love the tribe. They're doing great. All right, let's get into some super chats. Appreciate you guys as always. Any booms coming? Portal news, Nevada OH.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I'm sure somebody is gonna leave just because that's gonna happen. But I don't know. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm sure that we'll be shopping viciously for any help on the defensive line that we can get. If there's some superstar defensive end or some great D tackle, we will bid a ton of money. Because I know that Ryan Day is petrified right now of our. If we lose either of our interior guys, Edric or Caden, I mean, we're up the creek pretty good. And we get guys like Will Smith Jr. and Jason Moore and Tyler Malone. We got a lot of guys that are capable, but they got to get rolling. I mean, it's go time now, and it's and defensive tackle is maybe the hardest position to play on the field because you get double teamed on like half the snaps, and I mean when you play like a Michigan or a Wisconsin and they run the ball or Ohio State, it's misery because you're getting pulverized on every play. So that's why they got to rotate those guys in, man, because it sucks playing D tackle. I promise you. And so when you have guys like Ty Hamilton and Ty Leak that are absolutely excellent at it, then then you could bring in when your next two guys in are Edric and Caden, that's national championship level defensive tackle rotation. But when your guys aren't at that level, like right now where we're at, you got to go find somebody. You got to go pay them. So we'll see what we can get. That's the good thing about the portal, man, is that in the olden days you couldn't patch anything at this point, but now we've got a shot to go find a good player. Boom's coming. We will see. I think there's a lot of really positive momentum around a lot of really good players. So we will see. Nevada, your thoughts? Any booms coming or portal news? Nevada OH.
yeah, IO. Yeah, I'm expecting a couple of booms. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of guys that are right there, on the precipice of pulling the trigger. Obviously, a weekend like this, with so many talented guys, such a great showcase, and even the rings. I know we laugh about the rings, but I'm telling you what, who liked the rings a lot was the players. The players liked the rings a lot, and nothing impresses um, recruits kind of like those presentation boxes with those three gigantic rings in there, and everybody wants to be part of that. And that just makes it so tangible and brings it quite home that Ohio State is the pinnacle of college football right now. So yeah, I would expect a couple of booms. As for portal, yeah, Ryan's going to look to upgrade every position. Um, there was even talk about the Nico, the quarterback from Tennessee, and here's people ask me that question, so I'll answer it here. Um, if we didn't have Julian Sayin, I'd be loading up the truck to go get Nico from Tennessee. That's just my personal
Mhm.
opinion. Other people may disagree. That's fine. Kirk may disagree. That's fine. But I would have loaded because I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback, and I don't think you can't have any friends in this thing, and people can talk all they want about culture and the brotherhood and this and that, but it's about having the best players. And if you don't have Julian Sayin, Nico's an upgrade to what you have, and I would go get him. But we do have Julian Sayin,
Yeah.
so there's no room at the end. There's nothing to that, so you don't do it. But defensive linemen, we've got to sign out help wanted, and I know they're going to be hitting the phone lines hard with the agents and find out who and what's available out there. And I'd be shocked if they don't add on the defense line. Absolutely shocked. Because they're shopping hard right now.
I think you're dead on. I mean, you can't do anything to upset Julian Sayin. Not upset him. Not that he's some sort of diva, but like, you got him for 3 years, and he's a guy that I think has immense upside. And Ryan, like I said, I've said it a million times, Ryan Day, when he brought him in again, and he had Bill O'Brien evaluate him, and from because he was evaluating him at Alabama. I mean, you knew you were going to lose Aaron Nolan almost immediately, and which happened. Aaron took off, which is fine. But Julian was a clear upgrade over Aaron, and I think he's by far the most talented quarterback in the building. Again, I like betting on talent and work ethic, and he's a 5-star, and he was Nick Saban's last quarterback recruit, and he also won the Elite 11. So, I mean, all of the signs are there that he's going to be dynamic. And then you throw in the fact that he doesn't have to do a ton for us to be really good, i.e., he's got Jeremiah Smith, Max Clare, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, Mylan Graham, James Peoples, CJ Donaldson, and maybe the best offensive line in the country. Like, he doesn't have to be some sort of, like some of these quarterbacks got to do everything and, hope and pray or whatever. I mean, he just has to manage stuff. And again, I don't like the game manager thing, 'cause that drives me crazy. But, when you've got that kind of talent, man, I mean, come on. Like, it's not going to be that hard to be really, really good, because your receivers are so good and your line's good and you got a great play caller and you got Ryan Day coaching you. So you get that talent rolling and you get it, rolling with our coaching staff. It's gonna be scary. I mean, it's gonna be really good. I mean, he's a true sophomore, but he's very mature and quick processor. And the people I talked to last year said that he's a computer out there, which is great. Again, that's what we want. Get rid of the ball and get it to the right guy and let them do all the work. Because that's the beauty about these guys is, I mean, you guys saw Max Clare get open down the middle. I mean, he's a crazy good athlete for a tight end. So, I mean, this is going to be fun to watch. And again, I think that the tight end is going to get peppered a lot this year because not only are they talented, but tight ends for young quarterbacks are their best friend in the entire world. So, when you all of a sudden acquire the best tight end in the country, it's going to be math. Buckeye Blitz, it was great seeing you yesterday, my dude. Thanks for the 5. Shout out to Jim Jackson, who's the best. He and his wife showed up yesterday. Love you guys to death. You guys are the absolute, just amazing people. Like, seeing everybody is always like the best because I see everybody and everyone's so excited to kick it and say hi and how you been and kind of check in every year. It was just a blast to see Jim for driving me and Sealy to our cars from beat up so we didn't have to walk. Awesome time yesterday. Can't wait for the next one. Yeah, it was an awesome time. Like, I love doing these things. I love seeing everybody. It's always cool to see people meet each other. Again, we all have these little aliases online and stuff. So it's cool. I mean, everybody knows me because I'm on the show, but everyone else is kind of like, hey, I'm, Blitz and Buck, or they see Jim Jackson's, smiling pearly whites when he has his little photo on here. And it's just great to see everybody in person. It's great to see the family show up, the kids, husbands and wives that love to watch the show. Again, we don't take that for granted, and I love seeing all you guys. And yesterday was great. I tried to talk to everyone, sit down at everyone's table, and just got to thank everybody and talk for a little bit. And again, it means so much that you guys show up. It's like a birthday party, and it was like the greatest birthday party ever because I get to see all you guys. So I appreciate you guys. And again, we're gonna do another one soon. And again, I just appreciate all of you guys making the stop before the spring game. I love the spring game one because a lot of you guys are going to the game anyway. So nice, easy pit stop. But I appreciate you. Nevada Blitz and Buck, he says, shout out to Jim Jackson, who's one of the great members of the Scoop family, for driving him and Steely to their cars from beat up so they don't have to walk. Your thoughts on that? Again, that was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and I want to give a special shout out. I don't have the name, but I want to shout out to the person who found the Nevadabuck plaque over there after my partner and forever bestest buddy couldn't find the plaque after all these years living in. He's like, no, Nevada, your plaque's gone. They dug it up. It's gone. And they found the plaque. So the plaque lives. The sign might have come down, but the plaque still survived. And I want to call out my new bestest buddy for finding the plaque and putting it out there. And I got a picture of it, and it made me happy. So I've been happy the last 24 hours. That little plaque there, found it on the ground, wherever that might be, near the lacrosse stadium, the tennis center, whatever it is. But it was there. My dude, nice job. Unlike Burt Carton. Burt Carton could not find. Burt was spreading the rumors that they dug it up and destroyed my thing. All lies, man. All lies. It lives.
I said your boy Gene said you never had a sign, so that's what he
Yeah,
told you.
but I got a plaque.
You got a plaque. I love it.
I got a plaque.
Aaron, I appreciate you. I got an awesome wood plaque that I'm going to put on the show tomorrow. It's in my truck right now. And also, happy birthday to Doug Zilla. Sealy, I love you. You always keep me up to date on everything that's going on in the world of Scoop. So I appreciate you, Sealy. Sealy was the roll dog. I could see him 2 straight days. And I appreciate you being there all day, my dude. It was a blast. AT, thanks for the deuce. What do you think Julian's ceiling is? I think first round quarterback, top 10-ish pick. Again, he's going to put up crazy numbers. He's at a pro-style offense. He has Ryan Day and Billy Fessler coaching him. The receivers he has are NFL level. So, I think with his computer processor of a brain, and you got to look at some of these quarterbacks that are in the league. Now, they're different body styles, different playing styles, but not everyone's a 6'5" guy anymore. I mean, Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield's making $40 million a year. I mean, there's different varying, but like not every quarterback's like Godzilla like it was 15 years ago, and it was Roethlisberger and Peyton and Eli and Brady, and they're all 6'6". Like there's a lot of guys that are a lot of different shapes now. And if you can throw it and get rid of it and, avoid punishment, you're fine. I mean, like Aaron Rodgers is like 42 now or whatever. He's still rolling along in the league, or 44. I mean, he's getting up there and he's still going to play this year. So, if you get rid of that ball and you got an arm, you can play for a long time in the league. And he's that's who I've always thought was Julian's comparison, as Aaron Rodgers, just because they're the same kind of guy, except for when Aaron was 19, he was at junior college and people didn't think much of him. And Julian's a 5-star, but smart, incredible arm strength, incredible arm. I mean, like I said, the people I talked to at Ohio State, they say he's got a much better arm than Lincoln. And that's not just to blow smoke. It's this. I just ask. It's like, is Lincoln got a stronger arm? They're like, no, Julian does. He's just not as big, but he's got a stronger arm. So, go figure. Nevada, what do you think Julian Sayin's ceiling is?
No, I agree with you. I look, if JJ McCarthy can be a top 15 pick or whatever it was, then Julian Sayin sure as heck could do that. And I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be really good. And yeah, last year we killed the myth of Will Howard can't throw the deep ball. That was we were walking that one down. I'm going to whack down the myth of Julian Sayin doesn't have a big arm. Julian Sayin's got plenty of arm talent and it's got a big arm, can make all the passes. So, we'll look for other criticisms, which I'm sure we'll find many of them. But doesn't have a good arm isn't one of them. I mean, he was always regarded that way, coming through high school. And again, you don't win the Elite 11 with a noodle arm. There's a lot of things, but you have to be able to make all the throws, and he can make all the throws. And it was fun. It was fun watching him do it because we've been talking about it and I've been telling people about it, but they hadn't been able to see it. And then everybody got to see it yesterday. So I got so many texts and messages. We were going, oh, now I understand what you were talking about. So it was that was a fun game all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, guys, like when we do this, like Nevada and I, we love to bet on stuff, but we really like to bet on like sure things. And like Julian Sayin being, I mean, he won the Elite 11, so in that competition, which it's not always relevant, but if you win that thing, that says something. He was Nick Saban, handpicked by Nick Saban and Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien's a fantastic, QB evaluator. I'm Southern California kid, played good competition. It's like there's this portion of the fan base that they start these narratives. I'm just like, we don't like just pick like a donkey to win, the Kentucky Derby or something. I mean, we bet on Secretariat, so that's what we're talking about here. So that's.
It was all because of that one throw he made in the Tennessee game. I'm telling you, that's what it was.
He stood there for 3 hours, and then they made him go in and throw it, and he duffed it, and then it's the end of days.
Yeah, that night might have been the coldest night in the history of this. I don't think it's ever been colder than it was that night. And you're right, he's sitting there for 4 hours on the sideline, got to come in and throw a pass, and he didn't throw a very good one. But I think people are like, oh, Julian Sayin can't pass. And I'm like, well, let's not judge it solely on that. Let's look for a little larger sample size and we'll make a determination. But yeah,
I mean, I've seen a lot of kids come into their first JV, at the end of the varsity games in the fourth quarter, and it's 65-0, and they put the JV in, and the JV maybe ain't always super ready to go when they've been standing there for 3 hours. So I don't know. Like I can't judge much by that. I mean, I've seen really good players, and again, we've looked at spring games before where we've seen guys not do great or early on or miss a throw or whatever. I don't know. I mean, people wanted to bench CJ Stroud after his first game, after the Minnesota game. Like, I mean, done. Like at halftime, it was like, get rid of that Stroud guy forever. And he ends up being the second pick in the draft, like, like a year later. So
Justin Fields' spring game performance, that was one for the ages, man. I don't know.
oh my
I don't
God.
know the stat, but I think it was like 4 for 15 for 34 yards. That's all. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was really, really
Yeah.
bad. And he turned out to be okay.
It turned out to make $40 million a year to play quarterback in the NFL. It's a 2-year, $40 million deal. So did something right. All right, Michael Hilliard, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my dude. Max Clare is going to be a major problem. Hashtag Scoop had it first. I love it. Yeah, I mean, when we got that kid, I was like, holy cow. We've got JJ and Carnell, and then we had this kid. And again, he's preseason first team All American. So, I mean, this is, again, I just don't know if he could win the Mackey because I just don't think he's going to get enough targets. That's part of the problem with when you come here. I mean, this isn't going to be like Tyler Warren at Penn State, who's going to have 22 catches in a game. And, the kid from Bowling Green, Harold Fannin, is from Canton McKinley, had like 100 catches as a tight end. Like, that's the problem with the Mackey is I don't think we'll ever see a winner in our lifetime. It's not because we don't have the best tight end. It's because he's not going to have the numbers, I mean, because we've got so many great players and you only got like 65 plays a game now. So, I mean, you got to figure out who's going to be eaten. Nevada, your thoughts on Max Clare?
Well, I mean, one of the defenses that, people have had success against Ohio State with is running that Tampa 2, where, where the Tampa 2 is basically, it's like a cover 2 and the middle linebacker plays deep and he kind of runs down the middle of the field almost like a cover 3. So you have 3 kind of deep safeties. But the beater on that is that tight end down the middle, right down the seam. And they actually ran that. I don't know if you that play, called up or anything like that on the spring game, but they ran that and Julian threw a hose to Clare for a touchdown. And I mean, he's specifically a Tampa 2 beater because that's how you beat the Tampa 2, those 2 deep safeties, by going right down the middle. And so Max he's got a practical reason on top of just a general goodness that he's going to provide to the thing. But yeah, it was fun to watch that play because that's exactly what they want to do with him.
Yeah, I mean, he is a tough matchup. I just found it, so I'm gonna put it in, and these guys also kind of take care of each other because I think that they could have laid it out on Max because they this is kind of right in the safety death zone. But here's Max Clare right here in the middle of the screen, and he just runs this little right down the middle, right down the pike. The protection's really good by the line, really good. I mean, there's nobody here. We're a little late here with Austin. But otherwise, this is fine. I mean, Austin, some of these tackles have to learn they can't get beat inside. Make him run around just like Ethan. Like Ethan does this perfectly. But right down the pike, and again, like these guys are taking care of each other because I think they probably would have taken a crack at him right there. But he hits it and it's perfect and it's a touchdown and first touchdown as a Buckeye. But yeah, this is a nice easy throw. But yeah, I give these guys credit for not taking a shot here, though. I mean, because that's dangerous, and this is a spring game, so I actually give the defense some credit there. But that's going to be something we're going to see a lot because I think that he's going to be a feature, man, and he was really good yesterday, and I'm excited to see what else he can do. Jared A. Brandon, appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for being an ultra member. Thanks for the 20. He says, would you say the spring game is designed more for the offense? What would you say was the most eye-opening reveal from the spring game? Much love to Scoop family. Appreciate you, brother, as always. Nevada OH. I'll let you go first on this one.
So the question is, what was my most eye-opening?
Well, it's kind of a two-parter. Would you say the spring game is designed more for the offense? And then what would you say was the most eye-opening reveal from the spring game?
I mean, for me, I definitely think it's more about the offense because they limit the defense. They really limit, what the defense can do in terms of blitzing the kind of fronts that they can run up. So I think it's really designed for the offense to do well. I really do believe that, and certainly the format was yesterday, and they did well. So they accomplished what they set out to. But I definitely think it was a format that was heavily skewed towards the offense and giving them a chance to have some success with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and such. The biggest reveal to me, talked about this at the top of the show, but the screen and tight end game to me was something that we'd seen a lot through the spring. I hope to see it continue in the fall, but to see it continue into the spring game, I think that's going to be a major portion of the OSU offense in 2025 and beyond. Under Brian Hartline as the offensive coordinator, and that's different. We've never run the screen game. Last year, I think when they ran that play they talked about it, the play to Trey for the touchdown before the half against Texas. I think that was the first time they called that play all year. They said they ran it they practice screens all the time. They just don't ever call them. They finally dial it up, and it goes for a touchdown the biggest time possible. But I think we'll see more and more of the screens. We'll see more and more passes to a very, very deep tight end room. To me, that was the biggest reveal of yesterday.
Yeah, I think that that was huge. I think that it's definitely more designed for the offense because there's no point in showing anything. And again, you've got guys out there that in general probably won't be playing this fall, especially when you get down to the third unit. You have a bunch of young kids, young freshmen. So you're not going to run blitzes. You're not going to run twists. You're not going to mix up coverages. So it really hinders the defense. And we know that. Like, you don't when you're the offense, you don't like take victory laps because, they're handcuffed. But it does give you a great shot to get an evaluation of just mano-a-mano play. Like when you see, guys pass protect one-on-one and who wins and who loses and who can get better. I think that's it's a nice eval. The running game, how the combination blocks look, how's the one-on-one run fits look. A lot of the coverages, a lot of man coverage. That's something that I think is it's fair because you get a lot of evaluations out of that. So I like it. Every spring game is like that. It's honestly, spring games are a lot like all-star games. Like when you watch the U.S. Army All-American game and Under Armour game, like they all run base defenses. They're not blitzing because you don't, sometimes you don't have guys that know the plays as well, whatever. So they make it super simple. But I loved the effort. That was the thing that really stood out because we've had, again, like it's kind of like the Pro Bowl. Like a lot of players don't maybe like to play in the spring game or like don't want to play in the Pro Bowl. And so the effort suffers. And I thought those guys played hard yesterday. And I think that's a credit to Ryan Day and getting that thing revved up. And I thought it was a really, really well done game. What I would say was the most eye-opening reveal from the spring game is I honestly think how sharp Brian Hartline was. I figured Brian, he's been waiting for this moment. He was kind of given the OC role 2 years ago. Chip came in last year to kind of run the thing. But now it's his, and I think Ryan had to have been, they'll go through the film and why'd you call this? Why'd you call that? But I think that, I thought he had a good rhythm. I thought he did a good job of getting guys involved, spreading the ball out and getting Julian comfortable. Again, getting those quarterbacks comfortable. When you got quarterbacks that haven't played, like I'm so obsessed with getting them comfortable early in the game. Get the young O-line comfortable. Guys that might be in new spots, run the ball a little bit so the O-line can build some confidence and then take some shots, run some play actions. I thought he did a really nice job. So yeah, I appreciate you, Jared. You're the man. Appreciate you. Ian Bates, thank you for the deuce. Now Nevada called it when we got Julian saying he's A-Rod 2.0, Nevada OH. Yeah. That's how, he just reminds me so much of Rodgers because he's not super loud, he's not super demonstrative, but it doesn't really have to be. As long as you can throw it and you're accurate and you've got a gun, like that's all I care about. And then I just want the guy to be him, like be you. And Julian seems very comfortable in his skin, and I'm excited to see what he does this fall. I really am, and I feel really confident against this Texas team. Nevada, your thoughts? Again, I appreciate you, Ian. He says that you called it, and he's Aaron Rodgers 2.0. What are your thoughts?
Well, he just plays a lot like him, and he's really precise.
He's a precision passer with a big arm, like Aaron is, and it's just fun. I mean, but this is the way he's always been. What you saw in the spring game was who Julian Sayin is. So, I do expect that to continue to unfold, and I'm super excited. I am super bullish about our chances against Texas, and if he's playing like that and continues to improve, and he's getting great coaching, he's got confidence, he's got great weapons to deal with. I mean, the 2025 offense is going to be an absolute pleasure to watch, and to watch him kind of grow, and knowing that we have him for 2 more years, 3 more years. I'm super excited about that, because that, in these days of the one and done rental type of quarterbacks, to have a quarterback for multiple seasons, man, that's a treat, and I'm going to really be enjoying every second of it for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Ian, thanks for the deuce. He says, I think Ryan Day is maniacal and competitive and wants a back-to-back. Well, don't we all? Yeah, I think Ryan, I mean, if he wins another one, he separates from Urban and from Truss, because they'll have two, and he's chasing Woody. And again, he's got the most talented team in the country. Again, that's not us. That's ESPN. I mean, ESPN's got him ranked as a preseason #1 team. And again, I'm sure they'll put out a post, spring top 25, but I don't know what on earth could have made them drop them from one after what they saw in the spring game yesterday, along with the, the acquisitions we'll surely get. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, and again, I go into these seasons where I evaluate, okay, how good are we, and how good is the best team that we could have to potentially play in the playoffs? Is there a monster Georgia team out there? Is there a monster LSU team, and I don't see one. So, I think we're the monster. I honestly think Texas is the best team that we're going to see all season, including if we go to the playoffs, because I think Arch Manning will be legit, and we'll have to, knuckle up and get ready to go. But, we could see them week 1 and then see them again in the playoffs, and that could be the two toughest games we play all season, because they're loaded, they've got talent, and they're good, but I think we have better players, and I think that our coach has won the big one, and Steve Sarkisian hasn't. So this is my opinion, and he won one as a coordinator, obviously, but not as a head coach. So that is my thought. Nevada, Ian, again, I appreciate you. Says, I think Ryan Day is maniacal and competitive and wants a back-to-back. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no question. I mean, obviously, that would be, unbelievable accomplishment for anybody to pull off. But Ryan's got the horses, and he's put in this position where we're going to be in the conversation every single year. And with the 12-team playoff, your chances of getting shut out, because an early season stumble or a bad break or a bad stop, the odds of that happening are way down. Certainly not impossible given the difficulty of our schedule this year, but with 12 teams, we'll have a chance. And if we get in, as we showed last year, anything can happen. So yeah, Ryan's going to win multiple national championships at Ohio State. I would bet I'd put the line on that at like -300, that he wins multiple national championships at Ohio State, and depending on how long he stays, it could be multiple. So I'm excited. We're looking around, wondering who the big dog is. Well, we're the big dog, and I'm not sure that's even close to debatable.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Great show tonight, Nevada. Any final thoughts?
No, just so excited about the spring game. I mean, that was if you haven't had a chance to watch it, do. It's on YouTube. There's gonna be a replay on Big Ten Network and stuff. But watch the game. Really impressive. Really, it was not a Chinese fire drill. It was not guys running around. It was not, I mean, this was an organized, talented group, and I'm excited to see what they can do in 2025.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I am really excited. Really excited. So I am ready to rock and roll. All right, I appreciate you guys as always for being a huge part of our show. Again, thank you especially to all of you guys that made it out to the meetup yesterday. It was a blast. Love seeing all you guys. Had a great time catching up with everybody. And again, that's something that I look forward to seeing you guys. I love seeing everybody. Seeing Beth and Karis and Steely and all you guys as soon as I got there was amazing. So love you guys to death. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the kind words. And thank you for some of the inspiration to crank these shows out, man. Because I know that a lot of you guys look forward to these, and we just really appreciate you guys so very much for being a part of this show. So as always, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, you guys are amazing. The Scoop family is real. And it's always great to see everybody in person. It's just different that way. And it's something that's special that we get to share. And I just appreciate it so much. And I never take it for granted. So thank you for that. If you guys want to help us out in a humongous way, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. Some of you guys did that at the meetup yesterday, which was amazing. But super easy. Go into the podcast app on your iPhone, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe. Takes 8 seconds, completely free. And there's nothing in the world you can do to help us more, because we're really trying to grow these other lines of of Buckeye Scoop. And that's one, along with YouTube, that we've been focused on, along with our website, buckeyescoop.com, where we break everything first. So again, appreciate you guys so very much. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow night, 7:10. Can't wait to see you guys. You guys have a great night. Go Bucks.